It's another beautiful edition of Boshin River of the Moment. With me in the studio is a man of influence and affluence, the liaison officer of Ogun State House here in Abuja. I want to enjoin all our viewers across the globe, and I want to register our unreserved gratitude to you all for your day-to-day unflinching support, for having been following our video, watching our video, sharing our video, and subscribing to our YouTube channel. Like I stated earlier, with me in the studio is our imperative visitant that will also be introducing himself, as well as my co-host on the program. Our today's caption matter: harps on incessant wife battery and assault by hobbies to their wives. Before we go to the caption matter, I would want my guest to introduce himself to our viewers all over the globe.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Moderator. Good afternoon, viewers all over the world. My name is Oluwagbemiga Adejongpe, the Director of Liaison Services, Ogun State, here in Abuja. I'm a native of Ogun State, of course. If I'm not from Ogun State, there's the possibility of me not being the representative from the state. But that is not to say we are parochial or tribalistic. I'm an Ijebu man by tribe and a core Yoruba man.
Also with me in the studio is my co-host.
My own name is Ajia Belikis Fatolu, the co-host to BTV. We thank all our viewers for assisting us as we are assisting you. Thank you.
Now back to our caption matter. For those who are just joining us on this decisive and impacting program of Boshin Law TV, our today's caption matter hinges on incessant wife battery. Sir, giving that topic a cursory look today, sir, what do you think are the causes of wife battery in our society, sir?
Mr. Moderator, I want to sincerely appreciate you for bringing up this topic. It's not new to each and every one of us, especially our viewers to our home and those watching us. We've all been hearing about battery, assault, and in particular from hobby to the wife. It's a common phrase now that, and if we are not careful, it's gradually becoming part of what is in our dictionary, and it's just not it. Now, doing justice to the topic, battery. You ask me, what is battery? What is battery? Battery is just this act of striking repeatedly, underline that word, repeatedly, with hard blows. That is battery. Because if you slap someone once, we don't call that battery. It is when you are hitting someone very hard, repeatedly, it becomes battery.
When it's becoming consistent.
Yes. Consistent is, okay, you do today, you do tomorrow, or you do next. So, but that particular period you are doing it, you are giving somebody 5-6 blows. It's battery. Because it is with the intention to inflict injury. It has become physical violence. The law will help us through. So, I don't know where to start because it's broad. The issue of battery is broad. And when we're looking at battery, I want to make us understand that it is of different form. Battering is of different form. But possibly what we want to look at today is the physical aspect of it. But even at that, everybody, every home, man and woman, suffers from one form or the other from battering. We have what we call a control battery. We have what we call physical abuse, which is the one that is so common that everybody sees here and there. We have what we call sexual abuse, which is also a form of assault or battery. We have the one that is emotional abuse. We also have what we call isolation, then verbal abuse, which of course is in form of coercion, threat, blaming. They are all forms of battery. Then we have the use of male privilege because of the kind of society we find ourselves. So the use of that male privilege, this chauvinistic society that we find ourselves, that the male is also is always domineering. So we also use that as a form of battering. Then the economic one. The economic battering is there. Because let us take it, either we want to accept it or not. This last one that I mentioned is interwoven. It is also one of the causes of that physical battering. Because let us be realistic. A man that is financially down, that is emotionally down, can resort to so many things.
Is likely to commit battery.
Is likely to commit battery. And of course.
So that means battery are in stages.
In stages.
Where you're financially down, you have a mindset, and you start committing all form of batteries.
All form of battery. So then you begin to ask, why is this man aggressive? So it is not in all cases that it is always the man. We've had cases where some marriages too, it is the man too that suffers, both physical and the economic or the other forms of battery that we've enumerated earlier. So but the one that is too common or mostly common is the one that has to do with the women, and that because the noise, we see them as the weaker vessel. But by and large, we're talking of the physical battery. And of course, when we're talking of physical battery, we know what it means. Inflicting of injury here and there. And when you do that, what do you intend to gain? Physically, emotionally, psychologically, that person you are battering, he will be suffering from those things. You have psychological degradation, is there. There will be sustained fear. There will be this diminished power and control. Then there will be now this loss of self-identity, self-esteem. So those are the effects of incessant battery on the victim. Because it could also be, like I said earlier, the male. Because the moment where you now have cases where you cannot be bold enough to say things out of incessant fear, then you live in perpetual psychological trauma.
You have low spirit.
Low spirit. So, talking of the effect, of course, we don't need to dwell much on what we call physical abuse. And we have sexual abuse too. Because in the African culture, that is where we're talking about the male predominant, that male ego. Because of the society, when we say, okay, that male privilege. Yes, you are my wife. I married you. I paid your dowry. So anytime I want to have you, irrespective of the situation you are finding yourself, I don't care. I need to have my way.
Exercising of authority.
Yes.
Because of our setting.
Because of our setting, I need to have my way. And even if the woman, because of the society and the way she finds herself, accepts, it is not what she had wanted to do. So you find out that at the end of each act, the woman keeps crying. And when you hear that your husband is coming home, there's this fear. There's this low self-esteem. Oh, this man is home.
So there's even partiality in the sexual intercourse, where only man is enjoying the thing because the woman is playing a role unwillingly.
Unwillingly.
That's too bad. That's too bad.
So then, of course, if the woman tried to make an excuse or give a reason for her inability to play ball, then the man might resort to the physical aspect, where you slap, you hit, and all sorts of things. Because some of us, the African setting, we find ourselves where we feel the man is fully in charge, is the authority. Nobody queries the authority.
He's the alpha and omega.
So we see some of us see women as properties you acquire. It's like when you go, you buy a chair, a set of chairs. Where you keep it is where you meet it anytime you come home. And the way you want to fall on it, you sit on it. Whether you want to sit on it gently or you want to drop yourself heavily on it.
So that means some African men
Yeah.
does not know that in a relationship we have what we call mutual respect.
Mutual respect, exactly. That aspect is what is missing mostly. Now, that is where we are talking about the African man because of the culture and the society we grew in. Now, talk of today's world. Are some of the married men today matured?
That's a big question mark.
That is another thing. If you are not matured, you go into marriage, then it's a big problem.
Yes.
Matured mind sustains marriage. And like I keep telling so many people around me, I said, if you are planning for a wedding, I said, a wedding is a day's event.
Yeah.
Marriage is a
lifetime
is
thing.
a lifetime program. So if you are planning for your wedding, if we keep the kind of spirit, the same energy that we channel into planning a marriage, into planning a wedding, into sustaining marriages, definitely there may not really be much of this crisis.
And some well cotton will move around, frolic, take their spouse to eatery,
exactly,
do a lot of things.
Yeah.
But these are couples that will end up in battery and assault.
Maybe because of the animalistic in that mind.
It beats our imagination that you go to courts today. If you listen to reasons why some marriages are calling for divorce, you begin to wonder why, after so many years you've been together, is it now that you're finding it so difficult to understand each other? I want to understand that the human nature, if you want something, you want to be so gentle, you want to be so mild, you want to play good, you want to play nice.
You will be pretentious.
And you're pretentious
to get something you're longing for.
Exactly. So at the end of it all, you'll be like, oh, I've been able to get this now.
What's your name?
I'm in charge.
So I equate it to what I want. Let us say a man is taking a loan, or is saving money and starving himself so that he can acquire a new car or a kind of settee in his home. You are taking some sacrifices, some pains. So the moment you're able to now complete the payment and bring it home, then nobody tells you, I don't suffer for this dinner.
It was a lorry of the moment, and today's caption in Jason, incessant wife battery and assault, and imperative visitant, guest that's result oriented has done justice to that, and I know we have identified the problem, which is the incessant assault and battery in a marriage. And I know my co-host has a question for our guest, and I think it's right time for her to put it across to our guest.
I think my own question is, what are the possible solutions to all what we have been saying?
Beautiful. It's we may say, okay, let me start by using this word, that there's this popular saying, or it's not even popular, maybe to some of us, marriage is for the forgivers.
Marriage is for the forgivers.
So because it's for two forgivers. If you cannot forgive, don't go into marriage. The number one solution, you should be able to forgive. And when we're talking of forgiveness, it is not the kind of forgiveness some women do have. I can forgive, but I won't forget.
It's still not forgiven.
So
Well, you may not
forget. So you see, to an extent, in marriage, let us not beat around the bush. Incessant, what is all about nagging? Forget about maybe I don't have food, you are not taking care of it. There are issues possibly there are genuine issues that come up between husband and wife that led to maybe kind of shout out, and the man genuinely apologized and expected the wife to also understand and forgive genuinely. Then possibly in the nearest future, something happened and the next thing the woman will
That'll
do
be
is
reference.
yeah, I won't understand. I won't blame you. You are the kind of person who are you not an animal before? And the man will snap. He's human.
So that will fuel the situation.
It will. So that is that. But the other one was what I mentioned when it was how many of us are matured before going to marry. But if you are the matured mind, as a man, even if the woman says such, you take it lightly and not. It doesn't hurt you. You leave it. You let go.
So he who cannot forgive should not go into marriage.
Marriage is for two forgivers.
Forgivers. Okay. Viewers at home, you can all clearly hear our guest adumberation on our today's captioned matter on incessant wife battery and assault. We have identified the problem and reasons that led to wife battery and assault, economical issues, mindset, and so on. And we have as well prefer a solution. I guess as prefer a solution that the underlying factor here that we are to reckon with is that marriage is meant for two forgivers.
The ability to forgive.
And the ability to forgive one another reduces or extinguishes
the act of battery.
The act of battery and assault.
Yes.
This way we'll be wrapping up for today, and we're praying to Almighty God to ensure that we will be realigning next week for another beautiful edition of Boshinlo program.
Thank you so
much. But before we take our leave, we'll collectively sing the Boshinlo song together in Yoruba dialect.
Yes, that's.
And it goes thus. Káfí mọ́ ṣọ̀kan ká gbé lárugẹ, káfí mọ́ ṣọ̀kan ká gbé lárugẹ, ètò bó ṣe ń lọ kárí ayé o. Káfí mọ́ ṣọ̀kan ká gbé lárugẹ, káwa ó gbé kẹ́yìn ó gbé, káfí mọ́ ṣọ̀kan ká gbé lárugẹ. Wá kò lówó ọjà ẹ lórí bó ṣe ń lọ. Káfí mọ́ ṣọ̀kan ká gbé lárugẹ. May we live to meet some other times. Cheers. Bye.
Thank you.